Good afternoon, everybody. We're here today to discuss a very valuable and important tool used all around the world called Lean Six Sigma. So these are my group members. So to give an outline on the framework of our presentation, we want to start off with introduction, get some fundamental knowledge, moving on to key findings, discussion, and finally conclusion to wrap things all together. Going into our introduction, what really we will be talking about, and that's the definition of Lean Six Sigma. So Lean Six Sigma is the methodology used for really quality improvement and always striving for improvement. This could be products, services, and organizations as a whole. Now it's split up into two definitions: Lean, which is systematic approach, really focusing on waste reduction, and then Six Sigma, which is more of an analytical approach, using data to improve whatever they're improving. Now, the research goals of our project here was to interview and gain key knowledge of professionals working in the field, and have actually gone through, Lean Six Sigma training. So our scope, or how we did it, was obviously interviewed two professionals of the names of Charles Igwe, who has a PhD at Canadian Nuclear Labs, and Alan Brar, who has a Master's of Science in Food Safety at CHEP. Now, to get to our key findings, I'll pass it on to my colleague.
Thank you, Jackson. So these are some of the key findings from our respondents. But before we dive into it, let me introduce our respondents. Our first respondent, Mr. Charles Igwe, was an experienced program manager at the Canadian Nuclear Labs with over 10 years of experience in procurement and construction. Charles gave us a lot of insights about Lean and Six Sigma, and also gave us one of the major challenges faced by experts in the field, which is bureaucracy. He explained how creating rules and systems could be a hindrance to continuous improvement, as sometimes continuous improvement requires some freedom or creativity and innovation. Our second respondent, Alan Brar, an operations lead at CHEP, had over 4 years of experience in quality control. Alan talked about 5S and Lean Six Sigma, explaining how he has had more experience in standardizing processes as he works in an environment where standardization is necessary to prevent some safety injury. Finally, in terms of best practices, Charles mentioned that it comes with experience, and the more you expose, the better you would learn. However, Alan introduced us to one-point lessons where he used the example of a situation where you're trying to find who ate your lunch. And he stated how using one lesson at a time, like labeling your lunch in case someone has the same container of food, can help you solve that problem. I'll now hand over to my colleague Yasmin to talk about bureaucracy in much detail.
Thank you very much, Ugo. So first thing, what is bureaucracy? It's simply a type of social organization present in modern and postmodern society. It's characterized by its formal hierarchy, which a person reports to another person above them and so on, which you can see in this image here. It's mostly found in large organizations such as government and corporations. Its primary goal is efficiency, which sometimes fails today because things have to go through the higher ups to be approved, wasting time and prolonging projects. So now, how does bureaucracy disrupt Lean Six Sigma? As said in the interview, the layers of bureaucracy are very impenetrable and can be resistant to change, making it difficult to incorporate and implement Lean Six Sigma programs. And how do we overcome this issue? To achieve successful implementation of Lean Six Sigma, it's best to focus on smaller areas in the company, which may then inspire change in the total organization. I'll now pass it on to my colleague Abiola, who will talk about 5S versus Lean Six Sigma.
Thank you, Yasmin. So the question is, what is 5S? 5S focuses on cleanliness in order to create a more organized and productive workplace, while Lean Six Sigma combines the methodology of Lean and Six Sigma together. It's a process improvement approach that uses collaborative team efforts to improve performance by systematically removing operational waste. The major difference between the two is 5S works better in a workplace or factory, while Lean Six Sigma works in the departmental or managerial level. And the acronym for 5S is, and the steps and acronym of 5S is SORT, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. While Lean Six Sigma is data-driven and also uses this acronym, DMAIC, define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. I'm going to pass it to my colleague, Michael, who is going to conclude it.
Thank you very much, Abiola. At this point of our conclusion of the project, our field project has provided valuable insight into the best practice of Lean Six Sigma implementation as identified by the field expert. Secondly, we have identified some key recommendations, challenges, and tips for successful Lean Six Sigma implementation through the interviews and analysis made by the team. Thirdly, for culture of continuous improvement and involving employees at all levels in the process, communication and training are also essential for the successful implementation of Lean Six Sigma. Finally, we recommend as a team that further research should be made into the impact of Lean Six Sigma on organizational performance and the efficiency of various implementation strategies. Here are our references, and thank you very much.